tariff checks. You think those are on the way? What do you guys think? Do you think you're going to see a 2K check? I don't think you're going to see it this year, so don't hold your breath. But I do think it could be in the cards for 2026. So the White House is making it really, really clear over and over again that they want this stuff, right? I want to go to some sound of Scott Bessent speaking on Fox and Friends about the $2,000 potential rebates that could be coming your way. Let's take a listen.
That's the most financially responsible thing to do?
Well, there are a lot of options here. The president's talking about a $2,000 rebate, and that would be for families making less than, say, $100,000.
Have you decided on that yet?
We haven't. We haven't.
Okay, so that's interesting. I just want to say it's for families making less than $100,000. So they're really trying to target middle-class Americans, people who don't have as much money coming in the door. These are always tricky things because, what if you're working 4 jobs? What if you're working 3 jobs? Your wife and you are like, burning the candle at both ends because you need to make a little extra money and then you get penalized. So I've heard some people say that if you really want to make this thing happen and if you really want to call it a tariff rebate, you're going to have to extend it to every American. Otherwise, it's not authentic enough to be a tariff rebate because theoretically, if it's revenue that's coming in for the United States of America because of these tariffs, then everybody should be able to partake in it. But let's continue to listen to Scott Bessent.
In discussion. But the other thing to think about, Brian, is that what we did with the tax bill is actually financing the president's no tax and tips over time. Social Security and the big refunds you're going to see are a result of that. So that's another payment to the American people. And then the other thing you're going to see in the middle of the year are these Trump accounts. Every child born retroactively to January 1, but for the next 3 years, is going to get a $1,000 account that's going to be invested in the U.S. stock market. So that's another $1,000 for working families.
So yesterday.
So that's good. It's a really good thing that the Trump baby boom accounts. Look, he's committed to trying to do what he can to get some more money out there. He does want to pay down the national debt. He wants to use the tariffs to try and do that. But he explains it pretty well. He actually did this pretty substantially. I actually haven't heard as good an interview. I mean, people, I guess they're just not asking about it. They should. And the next time he gets on any of these programs, they really should push on this. But OAN asked the question a couple of months ago, and he was pretty forthcoming on his intentions. Let's listen.
We also might make a distribution to the people, almost like a dividend to the people of America.
How much are you thinking for that, sir?
Well, we're thinking maybe $1,000 to $2,000. Be great.
Inflation is completely stable.
Yep.
It's around target rate, and the country is ultimately taking in unprecedented amounts of tariff revenue, more than $200 billion at this point in time, sir. What do you believe this extra source of revenue can be put towards, and how big of a game changer is it for your administration?
Well, ultimately, because we're talking about a just kicking in. They're just starting to kick in. But ultimately, your tariffs are going to be over $1 trillion a year, in my opinion. We're going to do something. We're looking at something where, number one, we're paying down debt because people have allowed the debt to go crazy. But, with growth, with the kind of growth we have now, the debt is very little, relatively speaking. You grow yourself out of that debt. It's not a question of paying it. You grow yourself out. And the numbers are so much bigger than they ever were. The numbers we have now are bigger than they ever were. So when you have $36 trillion in debt a year ago or 2 years ago, and you have a lot less revenue coming in, then you have 37 or 38. It's not 38 yet, but it will be. And the numbers are so much bigger. All of a sudden, 38, you're under-levered, whereas for 36, you were highly levered. We're not highly levered anymore. Now, with that being said, we'll pay back debt, but
he said, we all want to be able to do something for the people, and that's a big part of his agenda. I would say this, though. A lot of people and legal scholars and economic scholars are saying this is easier said than done. You've got to come up with a law to actually make this happen, because the Treasury can't just say, okay, we're going to do this. Congress has to actually enact this in a law. And this is something that Bessent explained recently in a program on Fox. I just want to listen into this because I think you got to think about this, especially as we go into midterms, and you got to think of this as a political football too. I mean, I do know that Trump wants to be able to deliver on this, but if you've got to have Congress on your side, I don't know if the Democrats will get on board with this. They should. I mean, they should, right? Because, they're all about giveaways. This could be like a whole universal basic income kind of thing, reinverted in a capitalist sense. Imagine that. So they should be on board, but we'll see. And I imagine it's going to become a political issue as we head into midterms, because you're going to need congressional approval, as Treasury Secretary Bessent explains. Watch.
Secretary, is he going to be sending these direct payments to Americans of $2,000 or more?
We will see. We need legislation for that. And again, President Trump is all about solutions, Maria, and
yes.
Everything is on the table. But I will tell you that, again, thanks to him keeping his campaign promises to working Americans with the working class, no tax and tips, Social Security, overtime, we are going to see a big bump in the first quarter with the refunds and the real incomes. President Trump has also talked about sending $2,000 refunds to, and that would be for working families. Will have an income limit. Those could go out. And then, Maria, the other thing that is going to happen in July, families are going to be able to apply for any child born from January 1st, 2026 for the next 3 years is going to get a Trump account. That's $1,000 for each newborn that's going to go in the stock market, and that's going to be invested for the next 18 years. So President Trump is committed to getting the money back to families.
I like that idea. Again,
yeah, I do too. I think it's really kind of a neat, very, very cool idea. And look, if you do get a little of this, one of the things that Bessent has also talked about is the need to invest and the need to save. And I can't echo that enough. I encourage you guys to go over to my financial website, 76research.com, 76research.com. Remember, it's like 1776. You get it, right? We're coming up on the 250th anniversary. There's a reason we chose the number 76, 76research.com. You can also go to investinmaga.com. That's the free version of it, 76research.com. Use my code word dollar for $1 a month. You get a subscription to our newsletter where we're kind of giving you the rundown of what's going on in the economy, what's going on in the markets, stocks sometimes that we like. You can also get the model portfolio access. I encourage you guys to do that. It costs a little bit more money, but check all that out. There's 3 model portfolios on the website, but at least, if nothing else, at least get the free one. Go to investinmagatoday.com, investinmaga, or sign up for the newsletter at 76research.com with code word dollar. My gift to you this Thanksgiving. We have so much to be thankful for, right? I mean, really, I know things aren't perfect, and I know that we're, fired up and we want more, and who doesn't? And we want to make sure that the policies are enacted and they are seen through, and that we don't get into a storm of more impeachments, because that's what could come our way if the Democrats were to take over Congress. I don't think they'll get the Senate, but you know. I know. And yet, you know what? We live in a great country where, despite all the insanity that you see from the media, look at that. He still won, right? He still won. And I think that is something to be grateful for, because the American people, when push comes to shove, they always get it right. We always get it right. We live in a great country. We need to pass this great country on to every generation so that this freedom and this opportunity can continue for everyone. If you haven't subscribed to the show, please make sure that you do that now. Subscribe and hit the bell so you know when I'm here live. I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. I can tell you, I am so thankful for all of you. We have grown this channel to over 1 million subs thanks to, my craziness to get on here live every day. Even when we didn't have the microphone working. So and your craziness and willingness to sit here and slug through it with me, right? So we're in it together, guys. I thank God for you. I thank God for this wonderful country that has afforded so many of us great opportunity. And that's what it is, right? It's not guaranteeing outcome. It's guaranteeing that every kid has a chance to do something great and that you are never defined by your present, but you can move forward to the future. That is one of the gifts that we have here that is original, that is totally American. And because people were willing to make the sacrifices and take the chances that they took so many years ago. So thank you to our founding fathers, to the pilgrims. You know, I got the outfit on and everything today. Thank you to you guys. And let's keep making America great. Have a very happy Thanksgiving. And I'm going to see you here with a lot of content over the weekend. And again, right back here live on Monday. Thanks.